back to the Pod of Thrones continuing coverage of San Diego Comic-Con 2019. I'm Jeff. Still no Jennifer with me. I know, it's sad. I don't like this either, you guys. It's way more fun when she's here, but unfortunately, that is not the case right now. I think perhaps at the over the weekend, I'll need to have her do a Comic-Con wrap-up episode with me to talk about some of the sights and sounds and smells that we experienced over those 4 or 5 days that we were there. Okay, so I'm going to keep tonight simple, but girthy for all of you. This one's going to be about The Walking Dead. So, there were 2 panels. Fear the Walking Dead came up first. I'm not really sure why they do that. I guess you want to maybe end stronger on your main show, but The Walking Dead was always the first show. So to me, it would make more sense to put The Walking Dead first, but hey, what do I know? There were 2 panels, and I will play them in order. Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead. Now, for both of those panels, they started off with the writers and producers, the showrunners, and then made them go away while we watched a clip, and then brought out the cast. Did the same thing again for The Walking Dead. First the showrunners and producers, and then they left and they brought the cast out. It was a good time. I gotta say this. I know not everybody watches The Walking Dead anymore. Ratings certainly say that. And there were times, like in the line for Hall H, when I heard people mocking, like, what? Anyone still watches The Walking Dead? So listen, if you've been listening to us for a long time, you know our story, which was that when we first went to Comic-Con 2 years ago, it was the panels that we saw waiting for Game of Thrones that inspired us to watch The Walking Dead. And maybe it's because we binged it instead of waiting from week to week. We binged the first 6 or 7 seasons, I guess. Maybe that was a factor. But I will say, for the most part, I never thought they were really doing anything wrong. I enjoyed almost everything. I heard a lot of criticisms just in discussions over the last week about the season where they spent season 2. They were on a farm like the entire time, which I guess, so the story goes, the legend is that they had budgetary problems and that's why they had to cut back and only film in one place for the whole season. Maybe. Season 4 was a slow point for me, the whole thing with the virus, but then other people say they didn't like the Negan stuff, and while it did go on for a long time, I always liked it. Negan is just fun to watch him chew the scenery and, occasionally bash someone's head in. I always liked that, but I will say more than anything, the last season was really, really strong. Even though we lost some major characters, it's no big secret that Rick is gone. Let's just say that much for now. Now, they did announce at the panel that not only is Rick back, we know he didn't die. Not only is Rick coming back for some more storylines, which we assume will be about the Commonwealth, but it will be a theatrical release motion picture. I figured that if they were going to do movies, they would do them, still a TV movie, but this is going to be a big budget, full-on motion picture for The Walking Dead, based on what happened to Rick Grimes after he got in that helicopter. So we have that going for us. They did talk about how they're making more series. I don't think they said it during the panel, but I had read that the next series in the works is going to be more of a young adult show of kids growing up in the time of The Walking Dead in the post-apocalypse and how they deal with the issues in their lives. And of course, there's also Fear the Walking Dead, which is still a pretty great show. I liked it better than The Walking Dead for the first few years, for first few seasons at least. Last season, Fear the Walking Dead, they lost me for a little while. Jennifer and I both stopped watching for a number of months, but then we caught back up again, and the current stuff is a lot of fun. I don't know what happened in the mid-season cliffhanger yet, because even though that was released a few days ago, Jennifer's not around. I don't want to watch it without her. But we are otherwise current, and this most recent season has been a lot of fun. New type of zombies. They got radiation burns on them. A bunch of new characters get introduced. And if you're not sold on it yet, let me just say, if you're old like me, you might know the name Matt Frewer, Frewer, I believe. He was big in the 80s as Max Headroom. So if you remember that character, Matt Frewer has been acting ever since in a variety of stuff. He is a new villain on Fear the Walking Dead, and we haven't seen him do much yet, but I think in the second half of the current season, we're going to see him do a lot. So I'm very excited for that. Oh, I think that is enough of an intro from me, don't you guys? Because there's a lot of content coming up. I'm just going to pack it all together into one big, long episode, so it's going to be close to 2 hours long. Fear the Walking Dead, then The Walking Dead. Both of them moderated by Chris Hardwick. He's welcomed back into the nerd fold now, I guess, but that's a topic for another day. I'm not going to worry about that right now. That's it. So, hey, listen, any questions, comments? Why do you love or hate The Walking Dead? Reach out to me at Pod of Thrones on Twitter. You can reach me at Jeff at Pod of Thrones over email. And, if you want to talk, we'll be happy to talk about it on the show. Let me know what your thoughts are. And otherwise, enjoy the panel. It was a lot of fun to be there, and I think it'll be a pretty good listen.
Hello! Welcome to Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead. 2 hours of a panel. Hopefully. Hello! It's lovely to be back. This is a 2-hour panel. If you have to pee, now would be a good time to do it. There's a lot to show. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot to reveal. 2 shows, 2 casts. But I first want to tell you, the Fear the Walking Dead panel is first. A couple announcements. The Fear the Walking Dead mid-season finale is this Sunday, July 21st, followed by an all-new Talking Dead. And also, the mid-season premiere will be August 11th. So that's the important information. And now, I'm going to introduce some showrunners. Please welcome from Fear the Walking Dead, Andrew Chambliss and Ian Goldberg, Scott M. Gimple, Robert Kirkman, David Alberts, Dalian Hurd, Greg Nicotero, and Michael Satrazemis! Welcome. We're going to talk some EP show stuff first, and then we're going to have the cast come out. We're going to show some footage as well. But let's start with Andrew and Ian, because we just have to get into this really quickly. What are you excited about this season? Now that we're mid-season 5, what are you excited about?
We're really excited about kind of how ambitious we were. We've done everything so far from crash a plane, we built a mountain, had people climb it, we went to Wild West Town, and we got some really ambitious stuff coming and something really big this Sunday. So we're excited about that and really proud of our crew for pulling it all off.
I'm excited about Skidmark, the cat, feline warrior of the apocalypse, which I believe is the first of its kind in the TWDU. No, but I mean, we're on top of all the scope that Andrew just talked about, we're just really proud that we're able to tell these emotional stories with these incredible characters who just bring a lot of humanity and heartbreak and humor to everything that we do. It's really awesome to be a part of.
So what does it say that Alycia essentially risks her life to save Annie and a group of kids, and then we kind of don't know what's going on, but she was covered in radioactive blood that was very clear, like, do not get this blood on you, and now she has all this radioactive blood on her.
This season for Alycia, we saw at the beginning of the season from when they were at the crash site that she has taken on the role of protector of this group, but initially she's using her weapon to keep an arm's length between herself and people. And her story with Morgan has been about opening herself up to people and to possibility. And so doing that with those kids is a huge step forward for her. She has made herself vulnerable, she's made herself emotional, open to these kids, but she's also, put herself in some peril to do so. So it's complicated.
Yeah, and I'd also say she's not the only one who's been exposed. I mean, Morgan went to the power plant with Grace. Charlie and Strand also crashed in the middle of the radiation zone. So people are going to do a lot of health checks coming up.
Got it. So Michael Satrazemis, who's down there at the end, who started on The Walking Dead as a camera operator.
It's true.
And you worked your way up to directing episodes, and now you're a co-executive producer and director on Fear. So can you just talk about establishing the overall look for Fear for you?
Well, yeah, coming in last season 4, it was important to be able to give the show its own identity, and knowing very well what the other show was from being on it for so long, it was important to kind of find something that felt uniquely different, still within the apocalypse. So we kind of looked, we looked back instead of trying to reinvent anything, and we went kind of old school and pulled that Western vibe out, made it composition heavy, about frames and portraits, and every frame needing to be important before we even put the actors in. And that was kind of the goal. And last season, it was immensely fun to try to take on something like that and learn a lot about yourself. And this season was really amazing to see everybody take it over, and to get two amazing cameramen like Jalaluddin Troutman and Adam Sushitsky, who brought it to another level, and the crew, kind of embracing that style. The actors, made it really a powerful thing.
The amazing thing, and I'm going to say this, Michael Satrazemis is the most energetic man on set. Don't let him fool you.
No, I'm hiding right now. Yeah.
Do a dance. Do a dance now.
Can I dance? Yeah, well, can I just want to thank you, because we haven't ever gotten to meet until now. I'm living my dream because of you guys, because of your support of both these shows for so long. And I really want to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's the mic we know.
You want me to do a formal introduction? Michael Satrazemis, Hall H. Hall H, this is Michael Satrazemis. But I think also, Michael, what it...
That's the cast.
There's only a little bit of love for you back there.
The really uncomfortable with, they're like watching football backstage. Does football happen on Friday? I don't know. I don't know when football happens.
They don't allow that at Comic-Con.
But I think, Michael, you really represent, especially from the fan point of view, like, you were a fan of the show, you were a camera operator, you worked your way up, now you're overseeing all this stuff, and it's sort of what I love about the Walking Dead family in the universe is that it really is like by fans for fans, essentially, and that's kind of what I love about your story and how you've kind of risen up.
Listen, our first day on set, it was season 1, and it was episode 2. And we had done a zombie kill. It was right when Glenn and Rick are about to put the zombie guts on them. And Mike was the camera operator, and I was the makeup effects guy. And we were just like pouring blood, and he was like running around holding the camera. And we sort of looked at each other. There was like little hearts around us because we just knew that we're cut from the same cloth. We love everything that we do. And the first episode that I ever directed, I drew I had the floor plan of the barn, and I had all these little things with Dale when Dale gets killed, and I had it all drawn out, and I was terrified. I didn't know I'd never directed anything. And Mikey would walk over and he'd look at my little plan, and he's like, "Those are adorable. Like, your little drawings are so cute." But he said, "Listen, you're more prepared than a lot of directors that I've worked with in the past." So we always sort of have each other's backs, and that relationship shows in the show, and it shows certainly with what Mikey does.
Kiss, 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 kiss. Oh my. I'm so glad that happened.
Don't tell us to do anything else. We'll do it.
I will not.
Yeah, keep it PG. We might do it anyway.
Gail, so 5 seasons of Fear the Walking Dead, which is crazy. I mean, it's half a decade of Fear the Walking Dead. What are you most proud of accomplishing with this show?
Well, first of all, I'm really proud that you guys love us enough to keep us on the air. We wouldn't be nowhere without you. So let's give us all a round of applause. And I'm also proud of the fact that we see so many different aspects of the apocalypse, whether it's the Native American story that we've had in the past, the fantastic women characters that we've had from Madison Clark and Alycia and Luciana and Charlie. These are such strong characters that I identify with, and I also love the fact that we have such great directors on the show, a lot of them fantastic women directors. And you may not know that, but some of the great directors we've had, in addition to Mike Satrazemis this season, have been some of our amazing women directors.
Fantastic.
So Dave Albert, can you talk a little bit about new cast members joining the show this season?
Yeah, we have some great people joining us. We have Colby Minifee, who's playing Virginia. She's joining us from Jessica Jones and Marvelous Miss Maisel. Peter Jacobson, who's playing Jacob. He's joining us from House, The Americans, and Ray Donovan. And Colby Holman is going to play Wes, and this will be his first major role. So we're really excited to welcome him to the family.
Fantastic. So, Tara, we talk about this every season, the challenge, even just when you were kind of overseeing effects for one Walking Dead show. It's like, how do you up the stakes each season on the walkers? How do you keep evolving them? How do you keep making them better for television? And in this season, we have irradiated walkers on Fear. So what are some of the challenges for bringing something like that to television?
Well, what's great about Ian and Andrew and the writers is they write different, it's a different world, and they write different gags, the Red Rover walkers that were in the first couple episodes. And, I love getting phone calls from my guys on set going, we need 80 feet of intestines. And I'm like looking around going, no. So,
we've only got 70.
Yeah, I'm like, guys, I can give you 68. That's all I got.
That was a hard day.
But it's really, I think, it creates a different vibe because the shows, even though they come from the same world, they need to feel different. So when the camera booms up and we see like all these zombie heads hung in the trees like Christmas ornaments with their jaws gnashing, those visuals, they're very iconic, but they're different from the Walking Dead, and I think that's one of the things that's great. And we've been talking about the radiation walker for a while and did a bunch of concept art, because we don't want to do something that we've seen on the other show. So that's the big challenge. And this year, I ended up taking a lot of the makeup artists that have been working on Walking Dead, and when we were finished on Walking Dead, I kind of convinced them to go down to Austin and continue so that the continuity of the walkers looked the same. And there's been, the coverage of the zombies has been great. And so, ultimately, we're maintaining the consistency, but still creating new and iconic visuals that I feel live in the universe.
Fantastic. And then for Kirkman, and there's a lot to talk to you about today, but you'll be back out later for the Walking Dead panel as well.
Talking about nothing today. I'm going to sit here silently. I apologize.
Nothing to say.
We talked about this backstage, Chris.
Yeah, I know. You're not going to say anything. No, but we'll get to some other stuff later, some bigger issue stuff. But what are you most excited? Because I've loved, and I'll talk to Austin when he gets there, but I've really loved seeing Dwight's character open up on this show. So for you, why was it important for Dwight to cross over, and what have you been excited about with his character?
I think, it all started when Ian and Andrew came in and took over with season 4. I think coming in and giving this show its own flavor and giving it its own identity and really kind of pushing things further and further to set it apart from The Walking Dead has been, a tremendous boost to this show, and it's really, generated a lot of excitement. I think a big part of that is bringing over Morgan and bringing over Dwight and putting them with these characters that are in a different environment and seeing how they behave, but also retaining some of the flavor from Walking Dead, because we are trying to show that this is all one universe, that you will be getting a better overall experience if you're watching the eventual 10 shows that we're making.
Right.
And there'll be all kinds of little things that call back to that. All the little callbacks that these characters have to moments in Walking Dead I think are really great, but seeing Austin back and having him kicking ass as Dwight is really awesome, because that's one of the many characters I miss from the comics.
Well, there's a lot to. We're going to bring the cast out. We're going to show some stuff, but I want to ask Scott M. Gimple. Scott, you. There's no way to not say it that way. Scott Gimple. What can you? Because you're usually pretty cagey with details and information, and it's very hard to wring them out of you on Talking Dead. And so, is there anything, because it's Hall H, people have waited, can you just please give some piece of concrete information that people can chew on for a while?
Fear the Walking Dead has been renewed for a season 6.
Okay, that's great. Cool. I think we
got a job.
I think we assumed that.
I think we nailed that.
But you have got to tell these people something else, Scott. They sleep on the friggin' sidewalk. It's like a tailgate party where you have to pee in your own sleeping bag. And They deserve more than just the obvious that the show was picked up. Yes, we knew it was going to get picked up.
Okay.
What can you please tell these good people?
I hear you. Okay, first of all, not doing it for you.
Okay, that's
doing
fair.
it for them.
That's fair.
Secondly,
yes,
there's a big secret about the Walking Dead universe. All these years, we've seen just a tiny sliver of the Walking Dead world. We've seen Georgia, we've seen Virginia, we've seen Mexico, we've seen Texas. But there's a whole lot of world out there. And the big secret is that all along, there have been other civilizations that survived the apocalypse. We've seen hints of that in season 7 of The Walking Dead, and then recently on The End of Everything, that 5th episode of Fear the Walking Dead this year, that Al story. And now we're about to show a lot more of the world in a bunch of different projects. Those 10 shows that Robert described. He'll be starring in 3 of them.
Oh, finally.
Now, we're working on another Walking Dead series right now. It's going to tell a story of characters from one of these civilizations. It's about young people who grew up behind walls in a first world situation compared to what we've seen. They know what's happened to the world. They know what walkers are. They know how to kill them, but they've never done it. They've grown up apart from them. And now these kids could stay where they grew up, in this place of comfort and security and safety, but instead they leave their home, this place of safety, to risk everything on a dangerous quest while they're being pursued by a couple of their adult friends on a quest of their own. We're going to see some of these kids become heroes, we're going to see some of these kids become villains, and we're going to open up a whole new world of The Walking Dead. There, Chris, for the people.
All right. So you're officially announcing some more stuff for the 3rd, but probably not the last Walking Dead show that will be coming to TV at some point.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
More.
I appreciate it.
There'll be more. Actually, it's looking like July 29th. We're going to have a very cool preview, something to show you a little bit of the world, visuals, sound, life. And again, the most important thing, it is not for Chris Hardwick.
It is not.
It is for
These
you.
people, Hall H. All right, great. Thank you.
It's for Chris too.
Thank you, Scott and Gimple. And I want to thank the rest of the EPs because I'm going to excuse you right now. I'm going to show a trailer for Season 5B, which will be coming back very soon, just around the corner in a few weeks. Then I'm going to bring the cast out. So please, let's have a hand for the EPs of the show. Andrew and Ian are going to stay behind. Goodbye. I'll see you. And now as they're walking off, we're going to dim the lights and I'm going to show you an exclusive first look at the second part of Season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead. Roll the thing. Alycia Debnam-Carey, Danai Garcia, Maggie Grace, Jenna Elfman, Austin Emilio, Alexa Nisensen, Ruben Blades, and Karen David. Your 2019 Fear the Walking Dead lineup. So, Lenny, let's start with you.
If you must.
Welcome. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Very nice to see you. Morgan has really finally seemed like he's evened out a bit. He seems okay. And this mission where the group is offering to basically go out and help others, for this part of Season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead. What can you say about that?
It's a mission about taking the biggest risk in the apocalypse, which is the risk on the future. And it's the thing to do. Now that we're surviving, what do we do next? And it's what we're doing next that Morgan is trying to encourage everybody to think about and to figure out.
Right. Alycia, this is from Irina283 on Twitter. Season 4 was all about revenge and coming to terms with what happened to her family. What has this season been about for her?
I think for her it's been this journey of being then just a protector and being separated from people because she can't afford to lose anyone anymore, and she's just completely stifled by the idea of not being able to protect enough, so that's all she's doing. But she's now trying for the first time with Morgan's guidance, I think, to actually open up, because that's the only way she's going to connect back to who she is and herself. Because I think she's kind of lost who she is.
But don't you think she's kind of finding her humanity a little bit again? I mean, she really did go off for a while.
Yeah, oh yeah. And now I think, she's finally trying to reconnect, and that's her going after the kids, and that's her, trying to let those walls down and feel again and be open to loving and emotion and what it means to potentially be happy. But it's almost kind of ironic the moment she does that, we see her suddenly put in jeopardy almost instantaneously.
Right.
So,
Danai, Luciana has had a lot of injuries.
Oh my God.
And she keeps coming back.
You know what's funny? We just went to the dead zone, and the first thing Ian and Andrew said, "Danai, watch out the poles," and I literally said, "Oh my God, I'm so traumatized." I was actually looking for a pole that would not spin me to me looking at Lenny like, "Hey, can you take it out?"
But where does Luciana find the will to keep, getting knocked down, get up, knocked down, get up, keep fighting and pushing through?
I think it just happened when you least expect it. And what's weird is that when you're in that situation, you just start finding the strength to go over that obstacle. And what I realized this season is that, usually these characters, they're out killing zombies and just dealing with the apocalypse. But Luciana was so still, and when you're still, not because you want to, because you have to, you start thinking mentally of, you become stronger mentally. Okay, I have no choice. I need to find the strength to deal with this because it's not natural.
Right.
And thank goodness I had Dylan to hang out with. That was amazing.
Maggie Grace, the episode 5 this season, when Al meets Isabel, is an incredible story, especially because for Al, she's been so almost emotionally removed from everything. We haven't really gotten a peek, into her soul that much. And then we see this beautiful episode where she meets someone and decides to open up with Isabel, who almost kills her. So is there anything people would be surprised to learn about you in that episode? Anything you want to say about that episode?
I loved that episode. I just felt like it was such a gift. Thank you, guys. I felt like the characters had great chemistry, and it was really an honor and a pleasure to shoot. And surprising, I feel like there was sort of a Maggie Grace dragging machine with a camera above it, and they had my arms and legs bound to metal bars and would drag me along the hill so they could get that shot. Because for everything you see on screen for a couple seconds, it's we've done it 50 times.
Right.
There was a lot of surprising stunts that episode, and a real cliff. We were hooked in and super safe, but I think we all get used to thinking that things we see are all CG, and there's so many awesome practical effects, and we have such a great stunt team, Jack Tamplin and James Armstrong, that we love.
I think you sent us a photo of all the bruises, on your arms and legs when you wrapped.
Yeah, Mikey, I was look at my knee.
Sent you a spot gift certificate.
It was like a badge of honor. We're like a soccer team at the end. We're comparing bruises.
Does she, now that she's kind of opened up to someone on do you feel like this is a slightly different, more open direction for her going forward, or do you think she might sort of wall back up again?
I hope so. I think for someone like Al, not only being able to connect and sort of recognize who Isabel is so deeply, I think also knowing that there's this organization out there that's so advanced and has all this technology, it would be hard for Al to be like, you're right, I should just put that to bed, not pursue that. It's hard to walk away and live with that every day, I think. It's a big mystery.
June has also started as someone who didn't trust anyone, who was always trying to run away, and then she finally found a home and seems to have settled, and her relationship with John Dory is incredible. The two of them together are amazing. And how will we see her continue to evolve the rest of the season?
I think it's good and bad when you find someone like John Dory, because especially when you're so broken and he's so healing, the John Dory effect is so healing, and then she holds on to that very tight because it holds it all, it holds the whole world still for her. It holds everything calm. And I think as as we come into this mid-season finale, she can't find him. She can't raise him on the walkie, and she's having to face kind of her worst nightmare. This idea of how she's facing what she had before when she was separated from him, which is the advice she gives Al. But that was before she actually had the relationship. And now that she's in so deep on this relationship and it's so healing for her, she's facing the idea of like, what could I? What if I don't find him? What will that do to her? And this idea of that threat isn't great for her. But also, I had someone tell me once, you don't need confidence in order to do something. You do actions, and by doing them, you gain the confidence. And that's how you build confidence. And I think that's separate from the love with John. She's doing again and participating, and that's building her confidence. And I think she's, really been pulling herself out of the muck. So I think while she's getting stronger and stronger, she's also becoming more vulnerable and more vulnerable with not knowing what's gonna happen with John.
Yeah, and also just this whole plan that the group has had this part of the season is,
Did I talk too long?
No, you're great. No, you're great. All smiling.
Austin and I had a deal like who got to carry Garrett's picture out here.
Oh, did you guys bring it?
Yeah, we brought it.
Garrett couldn't be here. Oh, did you already put it up there? Can someone zoom in on that? Because that's a really great. You want to hold it up over here?
We were making eye contact. It's like, I won rock, paper, scissors. Sorry.
I don't know if this is from a personal collection.
Well, a fan named Jason brought it today.
That's Garrett Dillahunt on The Hunt, it turns out.
That was from Terminator
Tarzan
Chronicles.
Oh, this is from the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yes.
The fan that brought it, Jason, just assured me that it was not, in fact, photoshopped. Thank you, Jason, for your very important contribution to today's panel.
I feel like an homage to this needs to turn up somewhere
in a dream sequence.
That then becomes a real sequence.
This is what happens when you can't make the panel because you're shooting.
That's what happens. Karen, welcome to the show. Welcome to Comic-Con. Lovely to have you here.
This is my first time here.
It's your first time at Comic-Con. Welcome. Well, welcome.
I'm so in awe. Like, I'm fangirling over my cast and all you lovelies. So, hi.
I'd love that they almost kind of did the accent too. Hi! Like, it was so sweet. So how do you prepare for the role of a nuclear scientist in an apocalypse?
No pressure at all.
None.
It was a really quick turnover when I found out that I was joining the show. So I immediately went straight to the books and I was Googling about different examples of nuclear explosions, and of course Chernobyl came up, and at the time I had no idea that there was going to be a show that was being made, which by the way is absolutely brilliant. And watching that and also doing the research and just seeing so many images of when life used to exist and families, and it was just soul destroying, and I needed to feel exactly the weight of all that and really immerse myself in those feelings, especially for Grace, coming into Grace's shoes. She carries so much guilt on her shoulders because of the choices and decisions that she made. She thought she was helping everyone. She thought she was doing something for the greater good, and when that all fell apart and she started to see the people that she cared about, that she worked with at the plant, that all kind of crumbled in front of her and destroyed her. And the only thing for her to keep up with survival is trying to make things right as best as she could. And that's why she doesn't want any of these guys affected at all whatsoever, especially because she's to blame for it all.
I just want to say, beautiful first answer at your first Comic-Con.
Oh, thank you.
And also, speaking of first Comic-Cons, Alexa Nisenson, this is your first Comic-Con. No, you were at WonderCon. This is your first San Diego Comic-Con, right?
My first Comic-Con, yes.
All right, great. Well, welcome to San Diego Comic-Con. We have a question. We have a question from @BigDog16 on Twitter, who says, Alexa, how exciting was it flying in a hot air balloon resembling a beer bottle?
It was amazing. It really was just one of
probably the coolest things I've ever done, and getting to do it with Colman made it like 10 times better. You know, I feel like if you're gonna get like trapped inside of a hot air balloon with someone, like Colman is the best one to do it with. But yeah, I also just look up to him so much, and he's an amazing mentor. But I also really love that we got to work on our characters' bond, and doing something like that, flying on that hot air balloon, I think brought our characters closer, doing something extraordinary like that. But one of my other favorite things about that scene is how last season, you know, we saw Charlie kind of go against the group. But this season, we really saw her with this hot air balloon come up with this idea to potentially save the group. And I just loved getting to see her feel so proud of herself that she's come up with this idea to save her group that took her in. And getting to see her evolve has just been really, really amazing.
She has really evolved, kind of in a similar way to June. It was just like she didn't trust a lot of outside people, and now do we trust her now? We trust her. I feel like we trust her.
Well,
it's up to you guys.
Mentioning Colman Domingo, Colman couldn't be here, so he wrote a message that he wanted me to read. This is from Colman. I'm currently in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, shooting a film. Hopefully there is someone killing it when it comes to a color palette and some style. I'm in all gray. I'm sure Alycia is bringing it. Jen is bringing it. Maggie's bringing it. Ruben Blades is probably wearing all black. Look at him, I'm quite sure he is, but maybe he went crazy today and just wore hot pink or something. No. I'm sure Alexa's killing it. Austin's looking cool and sick, but people got style anyway. Hope you guys are having fun. Take care, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Be well. That was from Colman. He's the best. Colman Domingo is the sweetest. He's the absolute best. And speaking of Ruben, down there, dressed in all black, welcome back to the show, by the way. It's great to have you back. Thank you. The fans were so excited about your return. Daniel Salazar is such a wonderful character, and you know, people missed him, and so you're back. How do you describe his mindset at this point in the show?
Well, first of all, thank you, all of you, because you are the ones responsible for Salazar. Thank you very much for that. Well, right now, I mean, it's an interesting situation because after the dam scenario, which I'm sure will be explained at some point, he had to find a reason to live. I mean, his wife, Grisela's gone, his daughter is gone, and I think that independent from what Morgan arrived at, Salazar figured, you know, I'm alive for a reason. There must be a purpose for me, because everyone around me has died except me. So I think that he made up his mind about being of use to others and having the knowledge that he has to put it at the service of others. It's interesting because it happened at the same time that Morgan was also thinking about helping other people and with that atoning for past sins. In Salazar's case, I think he's trying to provide a reason for him to live. And I think helping others is it. But that doesn't mean, you know, he will help you, but if you cross him, he'll kill you. I think. I mean, I don't think that that's ever going to be gone.
Don't mess with him.
This is for Ruben. This is from Instagram. 17 Castiel wants to know, and this is actually a question a lot of people had. And you and I actually talked about this last night at the AMC dinner, and you were very emphatic about it. How was the cat trained to play Skidmark? How was Skidmark the cat?
The cat right now, by the way, is in Europe in a cat convention. Actually, you know, I wanted Salazar to have a companion. And at the beginning I thought a dog. I said no. And I would imagine that is because Daryl had a dog. But at that point, no, I didn't know that. So anyways, I said, can we have a cat? And they said, no, a cat. I said, yeah, they're very difficult. I said, you know, cat. So about 3 months later, I got a call. You got the cat? I said, what cat? Cat that you want? Oh, yeah, okay. So the cat is there. I think the cat is wonderful. I think that it's well trained, and you know, you have, of course, you have a stunt cat, and then you have Yeah, and the actor cat just watches, you know.
Smoking.
Smoking a cigarette.
Pretty good, yeah.
Looking at his...
I could do that, I just don't feel like it. I could do that.
Getting him something else. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a great cat, and you'd be amazed how... I was amazed how good he is. I mean, he follows orders. You ever try to talk to a cat? But so it's a great cat. I mean, I love him, and I'm sure that he's a star right now, and you have made him a star. It's a lot of fun.
I will be excited at the proliferation of cats named Skidmark going forward.
Yeah, well, you know, yeah.
Austin, I talked about this a little bit before when the executive producers were out here, but I was really excited to see Dwight come on the show because obviously he was pretty limited into what he was able to do. Pretty limited in what he was able to do on Walking Dead Prime. That he was kind of locked into something, and now we're actually getting to see him open up, and I feel like we're getting to explore his character more and getting to understand him a little bit better. Can you talk a little bit about Dwight running into John and June and what your experience has been like on the show so far?
Yeah, I mean, when we first come across Dwight, he's sort of been on this year-long mission, and I sort of describe it as like an addict trying to get his fix a little bit to find his wife. So when we see him, he's in a very dark place. And when he comes across June and John, it takes a little bit to, he hasn't been around people in a while. So he sort of has to have some faith in these people that he meets. And I think he really ends up relating to John very quickly. And by the way, getting to work with Jenna and Garrett I sort of geek out on it a little bit because they're kind of these gigantic actors to me, and it's incredible to work with them. And then also the introduction that I got to have I felt very appropriate. You know, it was a very Western, like, wow. You know, and you just see my hand come in, and we're in a small Western town in Texas, and it was kind of a bucket list intro, so I was very excited about it.
And then for Andrew and Ian, obviously Morgan's crossed over from the show, and now Dwight has crossed over from the show, so how does it change how you see the two shows as the universes really start kind of melding together as showrunners? What is your sort of, what are you looking ahead to see?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us it's really like looking at kind of the stories we want to tell and the themes we want to explore, and look to see what characters would be kind of the best vehicles for that, and that's what kind of drove the decision to bring Dwight over.
Yeah, and that's what was really exciting, as Austin says. Given the mission that Dwight was on when he left The Walking Dead, and the mission, or the story that we told with John and June last season, it was this perfect intersection of stories where they were in the perfect position to help each other. So that's the cool thing about being able to connect the worlds.
Great. This is from the internet. We're taking questions from the internet. Alycia Debnam-Carey from Instagram, Paulus PSJ. Alycia, do you think Alycia, with an I, is ready to be in a relationship?
I get that question so much.
It said most asked on the
really?
card. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not quite as much as Skidmark, but it's,
right.
It's up there, right?
Does Skidmark need a relationship?
Yeah, it's more pressing, definitely.
This is Skidmark's relationship right here. This is Skidmark. That's 6. Yeah.
I don't think she's quite there yet, but I think it's... for her to have a relationship, it really needs to be someone who can make her feel safe. I think she's never felt particularly safe since everything fell apart. And even before then, her brother being a drug addict, like her mother having a lot of attention on him, growing up without a father, she's always felt like she had to be the protector in a sense. And I think that's probably why she's found herself in this role currently. In this world. So for someone to come along, they'd have to be pretty to make her feel safe and to make her feel like she's protected for once, not the other way around. But there is definitely, I'd like to see that. I think it would be nice to see her have some happiness in her future that's, in a world that's not all just like guts and blood and killing. It would be nice for her to have some lightness. So, yeah.
Well, that's sort of the push and pull of the show, is anytime a character gets happy, you just go,
It's like,
crap.
oh,
Yeah.
no, they're gonna die now.
Well, this just sort of leads into another question from Facebook. Gwyneth A. Alycia, after everything Alycia has been through, who does she put the most trust in now?
Oh my god, I don't know. I mean, she's been with Strand maybe and Luciana the longest. So I guess it's like that's a family kind of aspect, but I think she reopened up when Morgan kind of came along too. I think there was like I have to trust you because you're trying so hard to not just let me disappear. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Morgan just wouldn't stop trying, so I think she's probably let that in and been like, all right, fine. I trust you, I get it. I don't know. So yeah, interesting question there.
This is from Susan P. on Facebook for Jenna Elfman. Jenna, do you think June would consider having another child or just survive as is with John?
I think she doesn't need to go through the idea of another child right now. That's one is enough. That was an experience. I think she's good with John.
Okay. For Lenny, what was it like shooting your first scene with Austin again?
It was surreal because it wasn't until we were shooting the film that shooting the scene that we realised we had actually never done a scene together before. Never spoken words together. We had to leave Virginia, Atlanta, and walk halfway across the country to do a scene together. So it's a lot of effort, but it was well worth it. I was glad that Austin was around. In fact, Austin was my first phone call when moving to Fear was a possibility, because he's Austin from Austin, and that's where we shoot it. So I phoned him up and I said, tell me about Austin. And I didn't tell him why. I just said, tell me about Austin, because I might be doing something there. Kept it cryptic. And he told me about it. And I said, how cold does it get? Will I need a coat? And he went, no, you'll need a jacket. And our first night shoot, it snowed. It was a blizzard. And I phoned him up and I went, it's snowing in Austin. And he went, no, it's not. And I went, yes, it is, and sent him a picture of it. And he went, oh, yeah, it's snowing. So he lies, but it's still great having him, because he's, even before we did a scene together, we'd become really good friends. So it was good having him.
This is a great question from Instagram from Heather Wilson. Lenny, how do you think Morgan would react if he knew Rick was gone/missing?
Oh, what I think he would go looking to prove it either one way or the other. I think he would walk back across the country. I think he'd walk back and forward. It will become his new mission. He would have to find him. I think one of the things about Morgan is he still defines himself by that man and that friendship and the fact that those two men know each other in a way that they don't allow anybody else to know them. So it will be very fundamental to him.
Okay. Austin, and you are from Austin.
I am, yeah.
And how's it been shooting in your hometown?
Just better breakfast tacos. No, it's been incredible. I have a history. That's where I started off acting, and now I'm back shooting the only show in my hometown, and we're we shoot on locations. So we go to all these amazing. We go out into the hill country. We're in these really cool spots, so it's been incredible. I love it, and I get to see my kid at night and in the morning, and I get to work with all these people and travel around Texas. This is the dream, right? This is it.
Fantastic. And then this is for Andrew and Ian. At Jesse McGuire on Twitter says, Andrew and Ian, are there any plans to utilize Reubens' musical talent in a storyline?
I think it would be...
He's a pretty big deal.
It would be insane to have Ruben Blades on your show and not use his singing talents.
And I'd say by the time the season is over, we will hear Ruben Blades sing on the show.
Actually, in our rap party, we listened to him sing. It was amazing.
Yeah, Ruben, do you put the tour on hold while you're shooting the show, or do you just go?
No, my band wants a zombie to bite me so I can die, and then they're not nice people. No. What happens is the band is working. I just go whenever we can, but we do have a very long schedule in the show, as you know.
Yeah.
And also once the show is done, I mean, I really need some time off for my family, my wife, and so I sometimes I do some gigs. I mean, I just got some invitations for next year to do some touring with jazz guys now. So we'll see, But this is my primary responsibility, the show.
Okay. Let's take a few fan questions right over here. Let's say hello. Wait, let's get your mic on. Hello?
Is it on?
Yes, you are on. All right. Welcome. What is your name?
My name is Josh Garcia.
Hello.
And my question's for Danai Garcia.
Hi.
And my question is, since you directed a short film before, do you intend to work in writing and directing for other mediums like features? And if so, how has acting in this show helped you in that process?
Oh, great question. I've been blessed to be around a cast that is multitasking, like Lenny James, he's a writer right here. Colman Domingo, he's writer, director. We have other cast members come and shadow from The Walking Dead, and it's just really inspiring to see, actors explore different parts of, their talents. And they keep saying, why don't you keep doing it? Just keep doing it on your time off. And it's really cool to have that, reassurance from your cast and the people you hang out with most of the day for like 7 months out of the year. So that's really nice. And I share the stuff with them and I get their feedback and it's amazing. And yeah, I would love to keep exploring, other stories, and I'm actually in the work for more things. And I'm very proud of this first short that I did. It's called La Cura. We just premiered at the Baja California International Film Festival, and the entire crew of Fear the Walking Dead in Baja came to the premiere. It was amazing. I'm going to send them big hello to everybody, and I love them so much. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Angelina. Chris, welcome back.
Thank you.
Nice
to see
year.
You. Nice to see you. Hi, how are you guys? Oh, I love you. Stop it.
It's a great hat, by the way.
That is an amazing hat.
Thank
Really
you.
great.
My question is how long did it take to film the opening plane crash scene, and how daunting was it?
We had a 10-day schedule, and I think probably like 4 of it were the plane crash, and it also rained during it. I think Maggie gets the MVP because she was out in the actual rain in the middle of the night, getting rained on for that final scene.
She worked on Lost. It's old hat.
At least I don't have to wear the damn heels on.
But it took like weeks of preparation to get the plane there and dig up the ground and do all that. It was a pretty cool thing to see.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for your question. Hi, what is your name?
My name is Sean Robinson, and my question is, the show started off as a prequel to The Walking Dead, and at some point the timeline is much more current to The Walking Dead. When was the decision made to change the format, and why?
Yeah, I mean...
go ahead.
I was going to say...
No, you go. No, I think that's you.
A lot of it was about getting deeper into the apocalypse so we could see how everyone was surviving and just what it cost everyone.
I would say we're not on the same timeline as The Walking Dead. They are now still several years ahead of us. So while we've caught up and done some time jumps, it still very much occupies its own space in the timeline.
Cool. Thank you. That's it? That's all the time we have for questions? Okay, great. No worries. Let me go to a couple more social questions then. This is for Maggie Grace. Bobby on Facebook says, Maggie, there's a lot of mystery and unknowns surrounding Fear the Walking Dead. This was also a trend on Lost. Do you enjoy working on shows that slowly let the audience peek behind the curtain?
Yes.
Dude in the front goes, nailed it. Let's see. What would, we already got to this. Danai, I already asked you this. Season 4 was all about revenge. What? Oh, I got this, you guys. I remember how to do this stuff. When the show comes back, are we like full throttle? Is there a build-up, or are we just dropping back in on the beginning of season 5B?
Oh. Well, something that you may have picked up on in the trailer is we've seen things filmed from Al's camera before, but you may have noticed in the trailer we see other people filming as well. So we're going to see that episode 509 is filmed in a very different way than we've done our episodes in the past. And without giving away why, it's sort of a documentary format to the episode, which is going to catch us up to where the group is and what they're doing, but you're going to be experiencing it in a very different way.
Just like The Office.
This is for Jenna Mendel20 on Twitter, and this is a good question because everyone on the show is pretty funny. What do you do to lighten the mood between the scenes, or do you have to be serious on set all the time? What happened?
I say this with fondness. Jenna always makes everyone laugh.
I think I make you laugh just because you love me so much. I love you. I don't know. I think, we have actually a lot of funny things that come from the environment. Like we had these goats, show up and do insane things. That came out really. I think we have moments where, there's a lot of people on the cast who like to sing, and Colman is usually really the rabble-rouser in terms of keeping it really quite humorous.
Right.
So I think the hat goes to Colman on that one.
Well, also because the show, I don't know, it is an emotionally, all the Walking Dead universe shows, all 10 of them, they're so emotionally draining, and when you watch the show, you feel like emotionally exhausted. But as a performer, it's nonstop. How do you find that line in between sort of screwing around so you don't go crazy or shaking off all the drama from the day, but being able to get back into the moments that you need to get into?
Yeah, it is a thing on set. I kind of just am in a zone a little bit, and I have to go for walks at the end of the day quite often, just to,
Also, we're very lucky with our crew because they're very funny and kind of supportive, and they get the gag, they get what we're doing, and there's a lot of laughter going on amongst the crew. There was one day where we were all all the scenes were being interrupted by gunfire, and we kind of found out that there's a gun range just over the hill, and they kept shooting the guns, and they were interrupting our filming.
Was that when you were taking the shower?
We should send someone over and ask them to stop. And everybody was like, well, who are we going to send? Who wants to go over the hill and tell the guys to stop firing the guns?
And then lastly for Karen, what was the most unexpected thing, or when you joined the cast of Fear, joining a different kind of show than you've ever done before, what was something that really surprised you that you enjoyed?
Well, Ian did tell me after our, I think, final meeting, he said there's no magic carpet rides in the apocalypse, Karen. And I was like, okay, I was hoping there might have been. I was super excited because having done, I love my beloved shows Gallivant and Once Upon a Time, and any Gallivant, Once Upon a Time? And I got to wear such beautiful costumes and shiny crowns and beautiful corseted gowns. And when I came on here, I remember Jo, our wonderful costume designer, she said, Karen, it's going to be a combination of thrift style fashion meets Goodwill. You're going to love it. Lots of dirt and blood. And I was so excited. I was like, yeah, this is great. And it was the shortest time that I'm in the makeup and hair chair, which excites me to no end. And I'm just like, the more dirt, the more blood, like bring it on. And the dirt underneath my nails is so great. But my mom forgets, because my mom's so used to these other roles. So she's like, oh, Karen, you've got a bit of dirt under your nails. You might want to clean that. And she just can't get it in her head that there is such a thing as makeup dirt. So.
And then you're in the apocalypse.
Yeah, and then I'm in the apocalypse.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming out to the Fear the Walking Dead panel at Comic-Con 2019. The mid-season finale of Fear is this Sunday, followed by an all-new Talking Dead, and then the mid-season premiere Fear is Sunday, August 11th, also followed by a Talking Dead. I'm Chris Hardwick, and then I'll be Chris Hardwick in a second when I run off stage and then awkwardly run back on 3 minutes later like I wasn't just up here. But when I come back out, let's just pretend it was the first time, and I'll have fun with it. So thank you so much to Fear the Walking Dead. I'll be right back. So the Walking Dead Comic-Con panel is about to get started. A quick couple announcements. Season 10 premieres Sunday, October 6th. Executive producer and director Greg Nicotero directs the Season 10 premiere episode, which is written by Angela Kang. The Walking Dead premiere will be directly followed by an all-new live Talking Dead, which is good for me. There will be a special Talking Dead, The Walking Dead Season 10 preview special, Sunday, August 11th. We're going to have more exclusives for Season 10 of The Walking Dead for you then, so make sure to tune in. And also, 10 weeks of reveals. Y'all, every week we're going to be revealing new info across The Walking Dead social platforms, photos, videos, never-before-seen content. This will kick off Thursday next week, July 25th. So keep an eye out on The Walking Dead Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter profiles. More details to come. And then tomorrow, we're shooting a pretty crazy fun thing at Petco Park at 9 a.m., We're trying to get as many people in zombie makeup, as many walkers as we can together in history to form the largest real live horde ever. So please join us over at Petco Park in zombie makeup. If you didn't bring zombie makeup, just break a lipstick off on your face or something. It doesn't matter. Just go to the store, just get some raw meat, just lick it and just stick it to the side of your face. You'll be fine. Do whatever. Chew up some dog treats, throw them up on your shirt. I don't care. We want to get as many people there as possible. That's 9 a.m. Go to amc.com/horde, Horde, for more details. And for right now, there is a lot to go through and some very big announcements. So let's bring everyone out for the first part. Please welcome to the stage the executive producers of The Walking Dead, Angela Kang, Scott Gimple, Robert Kirkman, David Alpert, Gail Ann Hurd, and Greg Nicotero. Here they come, the Walking Dead EPs, sitting quickly, because there's no time. All right, so Angela Kang, welcome. Hi. Great job so far. I mean, honestly, you've done such an amazing job this last season, and we're very much looking forward to going in. So before we get to see the trailer, which I will show in a few minutes, what are you most excited about for Season 10?
I'm excited in Season 10 because we're still finding new ways to explore the story, and you'll see in the trailer that, we're getting into a whole different style of war than the last time we saw a war on the show. And the Whisperers are a really different type of enemy, so we'll get to see what it's like to be in a Whisper war. So that's some fun stuff for us coming up.
And Scott, 10 years. 10 years of The Walking Dead, a decade of The Walking Dead.
Decade of the Dead.
What does that mean for you?
Well, I read the book before there was a show, and I remember, the web, this show's been on 10 years, so the web wasn't quite what it was 10 years ago, the internet. And I remember being on Lancashire Boulevard and seeing the poster, and just, being so excited to see, oh man, this show looks like it's been done right. This looks like the comic. This looks like that famous page. And I remember getting called and going to a meeting with most of the people at this table on the other side. And I didn't want to back off, so I wore a sweater vest.
That's serious. I mean, serious business.
No, I was I got to be me, and I was wearing a tie with foxes. And I walked out of there, and I was I don't know if that went well. And then to get on the show and to be sitting in the room with Robert every day, and to have him relentlessly mocking me It was a weird turn of events.
That's how he shows love.
And
I just want to say there are so many things that happened in that initial meeting that I wanted to mention just now, but didn't.
There you are. Oh no, I just teed you up, is what you're saying?
No,
There you go.
I'll spare you that.
Okay, thank you. God bless you.
You were fantastic.
Yeah.
Scott has this thing where when he gets nervous, his face goes flush
Yes,
red.
this is true.
So if you're ever watching one of these panels and he starts to get a little red, it's because he's lying to you.
It's
So watch
happening.
out for that.
It's happening now.
But I remember in the first meeting being like, is this guy okay?
Yeah.
I was like, the cheek is just like, looks like a tomato. That's crazy.
But it's really pulling focus off that fox tie.
Yeah.
And the sweater vest.
But then later they were like, Scott was really good. And I was like, well, which one was Scott? Oh, was he the tomato guy? Yeah. He was fantastic. So it worked for him. It really helped out.
10 years I've not heard this story. So that's exciting. So to work on the show as a writer-producer, to showrun, and then to step out of that and to be making new stuff for you guys, I would just say, when I saw the show, and those 6 Sunday nights were incredible for me, I was like, that's the kind of show I want to make. And to be able to work on it with all these guys and to make that show for you. If there's a show that you guys dig, if there's something that charges you up, you can do it. You can wind up there. You can have Robert Kirkman mocking you. It can happen. So it means everything to me. It's been one of the most amazing things in my life and one of the most satisfying things I've done, and I've met some of the most amazing people. So I know you were buying for this kind of answer, Chris, but this was for you, man.
No, I finally.
This was for you.
Scott,
Thank you.
you have to show them your socks.
Oh, God. Okay, well.
Because that is his son, Gus.
Aww. That's adorable.
I don't need socks to be a good dad.
I do.
Daddy loves you. It's on his socks. Too. Dad, weird. Come on. Robert Kirkman.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man. The old spontaneously ending the comic books routine.
Yes.
That was...
Yeah.
I remember...
Is everybody okay? Are there any tomatoes coming my way? I'm really sorry.
There's a tomato right next to you.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey!
Well played. Good callback. Points. Kirkman, I obviously, like everyone else who knows what I'm talking about, I read the thing that you wrote. I understand, why you did it. I understand emotionally why you did it. I understand that it was hard. Also, thank you for the sweet words you said about me and Talking Dead. But having something that's been so much
because I love you.
I love you too. Because it's been so much a part of their lives and your life. What do you say to the fans? Like, what can you say to the fans after just like, here you go, son?
There's something I really want to say to the fans, just because we're here in Hall H celebrating the Walking Dead show. We're all having a good time. The comic book is something very special to me, and I think over the life of it, I think that you can see how it became, or always was, Rick Grimes' story and Carl Grimes' story. The same way that the Telltale game is Clementine's story. So that story had a natural conclusion. I was very excited to get to that point. I cannot thank all of you enough for the support and everything that you do for this series that allowed me to get to that point. But this show is about the world, and we've proven that with the last season. And so anyone who's concerned that the fact that this comic book wrapped up means that season 10 is going to somehow spontaneously end on episode 4 as a surprise, that is not going to happen. There is a lot more story to tell, and I'm very excited to be working with Scott and Angela to, figure out if there are any other threads in the comic that we didn't quite get to bring the world past that point, because I think there is some story to tell when you're talking about the world of The Walking Dead. So I'm very excited about that. So no worries there.
Oh, thank God. Obviously, I have very vested worries about that type of thing. I read that, I was like, oh, no,
Chris
please.
will be on Talking Dead well into his 70s, hawking bobbleheads.
That'd be weird if
apps.
That'd be weird if it's like,
fantastic.
Walking Dead ends. Weirdly, Talking Dead picked up for 5 more seasons. That's never going to be a headline, so...
Right.
Gail, can we talk about new major characters joining the cast this season?
I'd be happy to.
Please.
So I'm really excited to announce a couple of fantastic additions to the cast. Thora Birch, whom you may all know from Ghost World and American Beauty, Clear and Present Danger, and Hocus Pocus. She is going to be playing Gamma, a whisperer who is fiercely protective of Alpha, a committed believer in the Whisper way of life. In addition, playing the role of Virgil will be Kevin Carroll from The Leftovers and Snowfall. He's really intelligent, very resourceful, and when he encounters some of our group, he's going to be desperately trying to get back to his home and family.
Great.
So,
thank you very much.
we look forward to sharing their stories and these fine actors with you.
And just sort of talking about new characters, Dave Alpert, is there a storyline from the comics that you would like to see brought to life on the show at some point?
I'm still just trying to get over the fact that that's actually not Scott's son on his socks, and I'm trying to figure out whose son it is. It's strange.
So are you saying that Scott Gimple abducted a child and photographed him only for the purpose of having original socks with a baby's face on them?
It's a little strange.
Man, this is some late breaking news here at Hollywood. I tell you. This is a dark time.
But
I'm seriously uncomfortable now.
We'll talk about this.
Okay. I'm gonna get a close up on this cheek.
Just for the people in the back who can't hear, a lady in the front row went, "So are we!"
Okay, cool. You know, I'm still sort of getting over issue 193 in the comic, and you know, but I actually feel like when we got to 192 and sort of we saw there's a moment in 191 where it's like it looks like there's about to be another all-out war between everybody's about to break out, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe Robert's about to do this, and then everyone goes stop, and it just stops, and I felt like that was actually a really interesting moment where the book had sort of changed, and like everybody's like, oh no, we've actually moved past this storytelling bit. And I was like, I would love to see us get to that moment in the show where we can find a way to sort of do things a little differently, and then the smaller silent moment at the end where Rick gets shot, I would love to see some version of that now that Rick's not in the show. How would we sort of adapt that moment for TV? That's what I'm looking forward to.
Cool. And then for Greg Nicotero, side note, excited about Creepshow. Secondly, what can you talk about Walking Dead from the director's standpoint going into season 10?
Well, you know, Angela wrote the first episode, which I directed. I just finished shooting my second of the season, and the greatest thing about it is it feels new and it feels fresh, and we're seeing our characters in very different lights. The opening 3 minutes is unlike anything we've ever done. You're not going to be sure what show you're watching for the first 30 seconds, and you're going to see a lot of it in the trailer that we're about to show. But you know, it constantly challenges me, this show. You know, I mean, we have a big cast, and we're constantly reminding ourselves that we need to pay tribute to you guys. We need to put some great episodes out there, and thank you guys for continuing to watch. So, in pure Walking Dead fashion, it opens with a bang. So it was a great experience, and you know, as the show gets bigger, we use more tools to tell the story, and there's a lot of really epic shots that show the world and show the scope of what our people have become in the interim of the snow episode, which last year was a whole other challenge of, like, we've been shooting in Georgia, and like, oh, you're gonna make snow. Like, how do we make snow? Oh, well, they get these big fans and they cut paper really small and they blow paper through the air, or soap suds, and we had never done anything like that. So the learning curve of trying to figure out, you know, how to build a set that was a frozen riverbed and shoot all that stuff on stage. So I feel like the show gets, in its intent, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the crew in Georgia, man, you know, they always pull it off. They get up every morning before the sun comes up, and we shoot all day, and it's hot. But man, oh man, you know, they bring it every time. So it's a tribute to this team. But you know, the show never gets smaller. There's never an episode where it's two people in a room talking. There'll be two people in a room talking with 1,000 zombies around them, and then there's another room with 50,000 other people in it. So the writers have done an amazing job. We have a lot of new writers this season, and it's going to be great. I can't wait for you to see the trailer.
Well, you mentioned that, so I think we should show the trailer. But first, I want to excuse the Walking Dead EPs, but ask Angela Kang to stay out here, if that's okay. And then everyone else, big hand for the Walking Dead EPs. Oh, damn! I was so excited for you to see that last shot in particular. Oh my God. All right, let's get them all out here. Here's 10 cast members from Walking Dead to celebrate the upcoming season 10. Please welcome Danai Gurira, Kaylee Fleming, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Melissa McBride, Avi Nash, Ryan Hurst, Nadia Hilker, Eleanor Matsura, Cooper Andrews, and last but not least, Mr. Norman Reedus. Welcome, 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 everyone. All get settled. Kaylee Fleming's first Comic-Con panel. Judith Grimes. I'm not gonna not take that. All right, good. All right. Okay, so there's a lot to get through. I want to start with Norman Reedus. What can we expect from Daryl season 10?
Wow. There's a whole lot of people kind of losing their shit this season.
Swear jar.
Yeah, and he's a leader. He's always been a leader, but he's really sort of watching everybody lose it, and he's trying to pick up the pieces behind them. There's a lot of paranoia this year. There's the threat is kind of like right next to us, and you can't tell who's who. And there's a lot of walls closing in around us in all directions. So he's trying to be a supportive person and get along with everyone.
We talked a little bit about this yesterday because you did the podcast, and thank you for that. And Zainab McGreedis said, Norman, knowing what Daryl knows now and how he's evolved since the beginning, what advice would he give season 1 Daryl?
Oh, wow. Lighten up, maybe? I think trust people. You have to trust people. You have to unite. Everyone has to have a voice, and they have to be part of the conversation. And he was such a lone guy in the beginning and didn't trust anyone and had a chip on his shoulder. And I think, people are a resource, if someone says that sometimes. Someone I know over there. But, I think to trust the person around you, because you're gonna need to rely on them sooner or later,
Melissa McBride.
Hi.
A lot of people really want to see a showdown between Carol and Alpha. How do you feel about that?
I feel the same way. Yeah, I feel like there deserves to be one. Carol wants vengeance. It's hard enough to try to survive in the world where everything in the world itself, the odds are against you, and you go one day to the next trying to justify going one day to the next. And it's so hard. Why are we doing this? And then you have a human being coming and making it all that much worse and taking things from you. I think there should be a showdown.
Yeah. And Carol has, since the beginning, has suffered loss after loss, and she always gets back up. She keeps going. She's proven that she is an incredible leader. How do you feel about her in season 10?
In season 10, she's leading. She's leading her own fight, I think, in a big way. And also by season 10, it's like Carol has been so many different types of people. Every season she comes back and there's a new evolution. And I think those aspects of Carol are extremely important, and they make sense, and they are why she's still here. And it's a survival mechanism.
Danai, for Michonne, last season was about grief. It was about loss, and it was a lot about how she could protect what's left. And she's also had an incredible journey of healing. So where is Michonne at in season 10?
It was very much a lot of what I loved about how it was structured was, we got to go back and see what those wounds were even after Rick, in terms of what happens with her friend and with almost losing Judith that really caused so much of that wall to build around her. So the healing that she starts to find in last season because of her very kick-ass daughter and her very awesome friend Sadiq really does. It's a responsibility now, because now you're opening up again, and healing involves vulnerability, which is scary, and it also involves taking on the responsibility of all these people that you're now saying, I'm taking you all on, and that for Michonne, she protects to the end. So stepping into that next phase of what does it look like to open up again is what it's all about, and really how do you carry this number of people as she would want to and would expect herself to, and lean in on amazing folks. As I said, she has the most awesome daughter in the world. I must say, Walking Dead has an amazing knack for finding the most amazing child actors in the world. Oh my God!
Speaking
young
of which,
lady,
Kaylee
right
Fleming
here.
over there. Welcome. This is Salt Lake. Fleming. Now, for your fighting scenes, does having a gymnastics background, has that been helpful for you?
Totally. Because with sword training, you have to have very sharp movements.
How many kids get to say that? How many kids get to say that?
You have to have really sharp movements, and having gymnastics has helped me a lot with that. But I have had a lot of sword training, and Danai looks so fierce when she does it. She makes it look so awesome, and so every time I train, I have to train to make it look like Danai talks.
But she does it better. Like, I'm officially obsolete. Go ahead.
I have to make it look like she taught me how to do it because Michonne is the teacher of Judith, and so that's how I had to learn it. And so I had to learn how she did it, and you'll see more of that.
She's amazing, this young lady.
I mean, I hope you know the second you came on screen as Judith Grimes, everyone fell in love with that character. It's such a great, you're so good as Judith. So good. And so ready for this apocalypse, and so equipped with it. And I almost kind of get weirdly emotional because the show's been on for so long. And in 2012, Chandler Riggs, we were at the Comic-Con in New York, and it was his first panel, and he was your age. And I said, Chandler, what is your weapon of choice in the apocalypse? And he was like, a flamethrower with a bayonet on the end. And I was like, damn, that's a good one. And so what is Kaylee, what is your weapon of choice for the apocalypse?
Well, I love the weapon that I have already, but if I had to have a different one, I have two. I think it would be cool to have Daryl's crossbow.
But she'll use it better than you, Norman. That's the thing.
Or Lucille.
Yeah. Oh, damn! Oh my God, that's the perfect answer.
They're both awesome, but
that's the best answer in the world.
Kaylee is smart as that.
Jeffrey D. Morgan, it's lovely to see you here. It was great to see Negan in the trailer. He has had a journey as well, and I'm still coming to terms with, where do I land on this issue? It feels like he's rehabilitated, I guess. I don't know, but what does it mean that Angela said she's very excited? The term "release the Negan" keeps reappearing.
I like the release the Negan.
We heard it a lot last season. It's like when Alpha came around, you got to release the Negan. This is what you have to do.
Yeah.
If once you release the monster, can you then contain the monster? So what does that mean for you, and what are you excited about?
Well, last year was a long year for Negan, and it was really, 10 years? So it's been a long 10 years. So I think Negan is going to stretch his legs a bit this season, certainly. And as far as, the redemption arc that he's kind of been on, and I think it's true. When people ask all the time, is it real or is it an act he's putting on? I think that Negan's relationship with the likes of Judith is as genuine as it can be. But the thing about Negan is he is always going to be Negan. And now that he's out of that cell a little bit, and as the season goes, we'll see what happens. he's gonna, he's sharp and witty and a little bit cutting with the words he has to say, and we'll see what happens if he gets a weapon in his hands and what goes down.
All right.
Yeah.
See if he gets reunited.
But he's not gonna hurt Judith, I can tell you that right now.
No, she's gonna take Lucille.
Yeah, she's gonna have Lucille, that's right.
We already covered that.
That's exactly right.
Avi, what can you tell us about how Sadiq is coping after Alpha's attack last season?
Well, I don't think you see and survive something that brutal and stay the same person. Sadiq is very much, I think, this season we see he's a little bit of a broken man, and he's dealing with survivor's guilt and anger and fear and shame and PTSD and a nightmare that never seems to end. So he's not having a great time, I guess, is what I would say for him.
Samantha Morton couldn't be here on the panel, unfortunately, but she has sent a message along for the fans, a real quick message. So let's roll that real fast if we can.
Hello everyone in Hall H. I just want to say I'm so sorry that I couldn't be with you in San Diego. You're good, I just checked. And I wanted to be there in spirit, so I thought I'd send this quick video. I'm so excited about what's in store for season 10, and of course for Alpha and the Whisperers. Angela and the writers have done an incredible job, and we appreciate all of your support. Thank you for being the best fans in the world. Thank you. Enjoy Comic-Con!
And then Ryan Hurst, who...
Hi, Chris Hardwick.
Hi, Ryan Hurst.
Hi, Chris Hardwick.
Hi, Ryan and I we went to Disneyland together a few months ago.
Best day of my life.
It was so much fun.
So much fun.
It was knowing what a huge fan you are of this world, of Comic-Con, of The Walking Dead. This is from Leanne137 on Twitter. Ryan, do you even realize the effect you have had on this fandom? Did you think playing such a bad guy would be so thrilling?
Absolutely. Bad guy's always the most fun. Always the most fun. But I'll tell you, I've been a part of other successful shows, and Norman and Jeff were like, yo, welcome to the family, man. These fans are the best. And I go on record as saying that the fam, the best. So good.
And what are you excited about for season 10? Just kind of opening up a little bit? We're going to see some more Beta? What's going on?
Yeah, he has a spin-off cooking show called
Beta Bites.
Baking with Beta.
Baking with Beta.
Cooking with Beta. No, we without giving away too much, we get to sort of investigate a little more about Alpha and Beta and sort of why they became who they are. Which was a lot of fun to shoot. We just got done, Nick Taro and I doing that just this week, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm just super excited to show fans, the Whispers are really kind of this season coming on full force, so it should be fun.
Excellent. For Eleanor?
Hello.
Eleanor, do you think, hello, welcome. Do you think Yumiko and Magma's group still feel like outsiders, or do you think we're getting to a place where they feel like Hilltop is their home?
Yeah, last season was so much about finding a safe place for our group. And it was funny, it really felt like life imitating art in that way, because, this show's been so beloved, we've been going for so many years, and then we joined at such a pivotal point with Andy leaving and everything. And it really felt like that. We felt like we were the new kids at school, and we were pretty lucky that we had each other to experience that together. And this time coming back for season 10, it's more familiar. We've gone through the experience of 9, and now we get to regroup again for 10, and it does feel more like home. And I think certainly the characters really feel in our group that we found our home in Hilltop and we want to protect it. So that's kind of where we're at for this season.
And then for Nadia, Magna had a kind of a tense introduction last season. Do you think she's on better terms now with Michonne than last season?
Hi guys, thank you for coming.
You put me in a tough spot right now because I have Eleanor and Yumiko sitting right next to me.
Why were you gonna say?
I mean, Michonne is attractive.
Oh, I see.
Danai too, right? Fun fact, I called Danai Danaya for the entire first season. Danaya, and then like right when we wrapped, she came up and she's like, Nadia, you know my name is not Danaya, right? Like, what? Like, yeah, it's Danai. I'm like, why didn't you tell me earlier?
Oh no, everyone told you. Everyone.
Really? Well, she liked it. She liked.
I like the way she said it.
She liked me
nice.
calling her Danai. Anyway, coming back to the question. Yeah, I find her very skilled. I have a lot of respect for her, Nadia and Magna. And I think I see there's a lot in Michonne that Magna is. And she's an amazing mother. She's a fighter. And I like Michonne a lot. Do I trust her? I don't know. But I also like Magna likes people she can't really figure out, and she's a little scary, and I think Magna likes that about her.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now for Jerry. How would you describe Jerry's outlook now that the kingdom has fallen?
Jerry's outlook, I think, is still pretty positive. That's the best part about getting to play Jerry is always seeing the good in everything. So, yeah, Kingdom got destroyed, but I mean, who wants a place with a bunch of duct tape wrapped around the pipes? So, you know, moving into Kingtop, I think was a smart move. But, you know, there's, you know, we all lost a lot in the Kingdom, and we had, you know, we get displaced, and we created this world, and kind of having it, you know, like, you know, an armor and make believe and within our world, and seeing it go is tough for Jerry. So he's doing his best to kind of keep it going, keep that feeling of the kingdom going, and kind of making sure that the king is, you know, doing okay. You know, so there's a, you know, he's got some, you know, we had people getting mowed down in season 8. We had, you know, we lost Henry, and, you know, Jerry's seeing his best friend sort of just taking it, you know, a little bit harder, so he's trying to strap on a little more and help out where he can. But, yeah, outlook, good.
Do people, when you're walking down the street, do people go, Jerry? Of course they do.
And I'll look and I'll wave, and they go, do you get mad about being called Jerry? And I had a friend named Jerry, and we switched his name to Chachi. And this is just karma. No, as Jerry more than him. So.
I'm calling you Chachi from now on. Either that or Danaya.
This is for Norman and Jeffrey. So you guys finally had a scene together, and Marzi Mel on Twitter wants to know, Norman, how is Daryl going to react to Negan and the fact that he saved Judith? Will he forgive but not forget what Negan did? And what's your general dynamic at this point?
Probably. It's great working with Jeff, I have to say. I work with all the girls all the time, and I love all the girls, but, you know, sometimes if someone's gossiping, they don't tell me what they're talking about. Jeffrey will tell me what he's gossiping about. But it's, I mean, I like what Jeffrey's doing with the character this year. It's a completely different character than we saw before, and I think there's a mutual understanding between those two characters. I think, you know, that they might need each other at some point. So, I mean, it's such a weird world because some of the bad guys are the good guys, and the good guys are the bad guys, and everybody thinks they're doing the right thing. So, I mean, we've all killed people, you know, we've all done crazy things. So maybe there'll be a time when we need them, and, you know, that big bald badass behind us is probably might be the reason, you know. So I don't know. I love working with Jeff. I've known him for a long, long time, and it's pretty awesome. Huh?
Oh, no, come on. Why you guys bring that up? And these guys are trying to get along, and some dude in the fifth row goes, "Remember Glenn." Why you got to do that? It's like, you know, they're having a great couples counseling session up here. You gotta poke the bear. Come on, dude.
It's been like 15 years, bro.
Oh, no.
Leopard spots, what?
Remember all the saviors that are dead.
Oh, there you go. Melissa, what was it like shooting the best friend scene from the trailer with Norman?
That whole day was one of the most memorable days of shooting that I've ever had. Of course, Norman is always great fun to work with, but that scene in particular, when he alludes that, you know, you're my best friend, it comes as a surprise, and there's such a sensitivity to the whole idea of having a best friend and being best friends in a world like that. And I think that for her to come back almost as a pill, or, you know, defensive a little bit, or even sort of making fun in a way, is a bit of a defense against feeling any more vulnerable.
Right.
Than to lose that.
So I have a question for Danai, which is, there has been a lot of chatter about this possibly being the last season for you, for Michonne on The Walking Dead. And can you confirm if that's true or false?
Remember Glenn?
I can confirm that this is the last season I will be on this amazing TV show as Michonne. And I would just like to say that this has been one of the purest joys of my life, to play this role and to be amongst these people and those that are not here right now, and amongst all of you. And I am very, very thankful for the experience I've had in ways I can't even express right now. But I will say my heart does not leave in any way, shape, or form. The beauty of this show is that TWD family is forever. And the first time I came here in 2012, I felt this energy, and it doesn't ever end. And the connection between us never ends, and that's what keeps me going with the decision I made. It was a very difficult one, and it's not connected to my heart. My heart stays right here. But it was about my calling, in a sense, and other things I feel called to, and the opportunities I've had wanting to explore them for others through the other thing I do as a creator of work. So all I'm filled with is a lot of pain about leaving, and a lot of gratitude and thanks to all of you. I love you guys. I love this show. And TWD family's forever.
Give me a big hug right now.
Forever. Thank you so much.
I know.
Hug you! Hug you!
I know it's a thank you for your words, and thank you for your work, and thank you for being you. And it is hard to not get emotional about it, because it has been such a 7-year journey. And I think as a fan, it's hard to say goodbye to Michonne. It's hard to say goodbye to you as a fan of the show, but as someone who is deeply a fan of you, Danai, I know you're an incredible playwright. You're an incredible writer. You're an incredible actor. The second I saw you on screen on Black Panther, I'm like, well, she's gonna probably do a lot of this. And I know that it's hard to say goodbye to you on the show, but I know that we as fans will see you in Hall H many, many, many times over, doing other many, many, many amazing things. And I just, as a person, I'm sad, and I'm also happy for you, and honored that I've gotten to see you bring this character to life all these years. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'll miss running into you and stuff too, and making the jokes and stuff. But Angela, how do you as a showrunner send a character like Michonne off in a way that does the character justice? How do you even begin to tackle that?
I don't know. It's hard. I think Danai, she's been here since season 3, and just her importance to the show just cannot be overstated. Just the mark that she's left, the excellence that she brings every day, the way that just her professionalism, her passion, all of that. It's been a remarkable journey that we've been on with her, and it's also just remarkable to see her just blooming and spreading her wings out in the world as well. So I think for all of us on the writing side, we just take that responsibility really seriously. This is a character that is important to us. It's important to the fans. In the same way when we were working on an exit for Andy, we approached it with just the same level of seriousness and wanting to do right by this incredible actress as well as the story. I hope we haven't screwed it up. I think, she's certainly, we've put her through her paces this year, and she's a spectacular actress. She challenges us. She brought the A++ game, as she always does, and I'm really excited to share the things that she's doing. I mean, we saw a little clip of her in a mysterious pose with Lucille, so we'll learn some more about that. And I'm excited for people to just see the depth and beauty of her work, as always. And we will miss the hell out of her.
I'm sure there are audience questions, so let's open up the floor to some audience questions. Oh my God, Button Lady! Button Lady!
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Button Lady.
Hi, Kaylin. I'm Button Lady.
This is Button Lady. Hi. Pinning the buttons right onto your soul.
After wiping the tears from my eyes from all that talk about Danai, my question is for Danai. A lot of your interactions on camera have been with Andy in the past, but this last season you've gotten to interact more with your co-stars. And what have you discovered about your co-stars that you didn't know before?
It has been amazing, actually. It's been fantastic. The amount of interactions I've gotten to have, even last year with this gentleman here, and then also with Kaylee and it's everybody, working more with Norman, and it's just been really, really, and working with the awesome new characters. And so it is interesting because it was a difference. It's a very deep difference when, you're partners with Rick, and you have this partnership and this way of just looking at each other and communicating and going forth into things together. And now it's Michonne on her own, and there is kind of a new way to connect to people that was very very thrilling, because you learn the color of people's eyes more deeply. But it was beautiful. But thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Button Lady. Hello again. How are you?
Dash Garcia again.
Yes, sir.
My question is for Danai Gurira for the third time. And my question is, as you balance between your roles in dramas, The Avengers, and this, while writing stage plays, do you intend to bring your writing skills to the genres such as action and horror that you've been acting in other sources, whether for film or TV?
I am. I'm involved actually very deeply in writing for TV right now, and I'm once again so thankful for this family. I'm so thankful for this astounding woman sitting next to me, and Mr. Gimple. I've really leaned on them to learn how to do what they do, and they run like I don't know if there's a ship that you can steer, like you need more skill to steer than the one they steer. And so I've learned so much from them. They've given me so much generosity of information and support as I've stepped into starting to create for television. So I once again, it comes right back to TWD family, man. So yeah, it's been a great journey with that.
Thank you for your second Danai question. That's the first panel too. What is your name?
We've met Chris a few years ago, and I know you don't remember me.
No, it's good to see you again. How you been? What's going on? How's that thing?
Wait.
That thing still good?
Wait, can I ask that question?
This is part of our dynamic. We're old friends.
Danai, I wish you luck.
Thank you.
My question's for Norman. Would you be willing to lead the gang into storming Area 51?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I know it's a thing, but what is that?
It's a Facebook event where almost 2 million people signed up.
And we're gonna storm Area 51?
If aliens are real, if not zombies.
Are we going to try to steal stuff? What are we going for?
Just to see the aliens. Just to see the aliens.
Just to what?
See the aliens. See if they're real. See if they're hidden in Area 51.
I think you could just go out in the hall. But yeah, why not? Let's storm Area 51. I'm down, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not on Facebook, but can I go anywhere?
Listen, 2 million people signed up on Facebook. People always do what they say they're going to do on the internet, so I'm
Okay,
sure.
all right.
Maybe we'll show up.
Let's go find an alien.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Excellent cosplay.
Thank you. I normally cosplay Ezekiel, so it's a little bit of a change up for me.
What is your name?
My name is Randy Nickel.
And what is your question?
My question is for Angela Kang. I'm quite happy that so far Ezekiel has avoided his fate because I kind of have a little bit of a vested interest when as I cosplay him. But I'm hoping, I want to know if he's going to be potentially taking over as the leadership of the Hilltop. Except that so far, every leader of the Hilltop has died thus far.
Yeah, well, no, they haven't all died. Just a couple of them.
Yeah, take it easy, Randy. Come on.
I think Ezekiel, he's definitely dealing with issues of leadership and what his place in the world is. I think Kari is doing an amazing job with the journey that he's on this season. I don't want to say too much about it because I think it will be a surprise left turn for people, but a lot of deep and touching work by our wonderful Kari.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And thanks for being a part of our Ultimate Fan Challenge last season. You did that. I recognize you. Yes, thank you so much. You're welcome. Hi, what's your name?
Hey, guys. Mike works. Thanks, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, me too. Good.
Thank you guys for coming here. My question actually is for my girlfriend. She couldn't make it, and it's for Norman. Norman, your portrayal of Daryl Dixon's past, his pain, the abuse, the trauma, all that is so touching and spot on, and she's gone through a lot in her life, and she just always relays to me how much she relates to your character and what he's been through, just some of the things that she's experienced in her life. And I just wanted to ask you a little bit where your inspiration for that comes from, and it's perfectly portrayed and it's beautiful, and just we love watching on screen, and just wanted to ask you a little bit about where you get some of that from.
Oh wow, thank you for that. I'm like one of those guys that cries on planes. You know what I mean? I think it's for some reason it's harder for me to do the jovial laughter character than it is to do that kind of vibe. But life experience, some of it. If a lot of those scenes have been with really good actors. That allow me to do stuff, like Melissa or Andy, or like people that would let you go there. I think, remember me carrying Beth out? Remember that? I wanted to look like I was exhausted of tears doing that and not crying while I was doing that. So the crew on our show let me sit in a hallway on one of those igloo chests and just bawl for like an hour and a half. And that's how cool the crew is on our show. Like, nobody interrupted. I just see feet going by. But they just give you your space to do stuff. And I think, you know, it's always been like that on this show. Like, if someone has a really emotional day, it's not the goof around day, you know, and everybody gives each other that space to do that. But I think if I was on a different show, it would be harder to do that. But the artistry that goes in every department of this show, there's a lot of respect for every group, you know. So it makes it a little easier, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Thank you. I was going to wrap the questions, but you are at the microphone. It wouldn't be fair to not let you ask your questions. So what is your question? You'll be the last.
Hi, my question is for Jeffrey. I wanted to know, does Negan see Carl in Judith?
Does Negan see Carl and Judith? I think a little bit, yeah. I think that Negan has he genuinely likes kids. I think he has issues with adults, but I think...
You think?
It's a little bit like me, actually. But he really likes kids. It's not just Grimes' children. I think he has an affinity toward. There's, you know, he was a teacher before the apocalypse, and but I think definitely, yes, I think that there's definitely some stuff that he sees in Judith that is very Carl, and he. You know, we didn't play that storyline out as much as I had hoped with Carl, certainly. And thankfully, we found this amazing actor in Kaylee, and working with her, we got to play some of that storyline, some of the Negan-Carl storyline. She kind of took over that for Negan, and that has helped Negan find this road to redemption that he's kind of currently been on, and kind of normalized him, except for the gentleman here. But yeah, absolutely he does. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. And by the way, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, Petco Park, please. Amazing zombie rating. That's all the time we have for the Season 10 Walking Dead Comic-Con panel. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank you for being here. This incredible cast. The Season 10 trailer is available on YouTube. October 6th is when Walking Dead will return to screens, directly followed by a live Talking Dead, and then the Season 10 preview special is Sunday, August 10th. Tomorrow, Petco Park, like I said, for the Horde event, amc.com/Horde for more details. I'm going to excuse the cast, and then I've got one little last thing to show you, but one more huge hand for the cast. Thank you so much for being here.